Hey everybody, what's going on, my friends? Vitaly Dubin is here and I'm super pumped and super excited. Get ready to get a lot of notes and be showered with a lot of training, information, tips, strategies, everything that you need to be able to help you build a six-figure business from home, because right now on the line, I have a major industry leader and someone that I have a privilege to call my friend, Mr. Justice Eagan. And I just want to let you know, just to kind of introduce himself so that you know who am I, where I brought for you to for interview. Justice is an inspired marketer, networker, and trainer. He's an L4 leader in Mighty System Pro, the largest attraction marketing and lead generation system on the internet for home business entrepreneurs, and that's a big deal. Justice generated over 20,000 leads online and won many affiliate contests. His YouTube channel has over 3,000 subscribers and got over 1,100,000 views. Now that is incredible.
Clearly, you checked that out recently, huh?
I did. I got some homework on you. He was invited to speak at major industry events, and he also hosts his own seminars and live events in Mastermind. He's an author of multiple products like the Audience Builder's Blueprint, How to Cash In with Webinars, the September Sessions, Influence Secrets of Top Producers, 30-Day Biz Builder Challenge, and recently with his launch, the Dream Year Challenge, which touched my life in a lot of ways, because I was able to fully participate, engage, and promote the Dream Year Challenge as well. And I actually won first place in this affiliate contest, and we're going to be cruising pretty soon with Justice and his business partner Adam Chandler in the 5-day Caribbean cruise. So we're going to have a lot of fun there. Justice has been able to fire his boss and actually catch it on tape, and you'll be able to hear it soon here when Justice will tell his story a little bit. So I met Justice at Leader Dream 5 event, and his message really touched my heart and really inspired me, because he really has this gift that he gives people and touches their hearts, and I'm just so inspired by this man. I'm so excited to bring him. So Justice, are you there? How are you doing, buddy?
I am. Thank you so much for that more than excited introduction. I really appreciate it, and thank you for participating in your Dream Year Challenge, for participating in the challenge itself, but as an affiliate, I mean, what you went out there and did was amazing. I'm going to tell everybody on here a quick story, and that is that there was a little confusion in the back office, and a couple of affiliates had promoted a link that didn't have a cookie on it, so that the tracking hadn't tagged to them. And Vitaly, you were one of those people. You reached out to me and found out that you hadn't cookied the first group of people that you had shared your Dream Year Challenge with, and while a few people had reached out with that, that challenge, and many of them were disappointed. Oh, well, this stinks. That stinks. I get that. And Vitaly just said, well, so be it. I guess you just got a bunch of free leads or whatever. And he went out and he put his head down and he plugged away anyway, like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And all of a sudden, a few sales started coming in, and there was a point in time when we were chatting about the morning before the contest ended, and I said to Vitaly, I said, you've got a real shot at third place and jumping on a cruise here. And Vitaly texted me back, and he said, Justice, I intend to win this. Okay.
First place.
Yeah, and there were some serious marketers in this contest, and Vitaly put his head down, and he won by 2 sales. And now soon enough, we were just talking details. Soon enough, we'll all be in the Caribbean together on a wonderful cruise, and it's going to be a fantastic time.
We're definitely going to have a lot of fun, and I had a lot of fun promoting your Dream Year Challenge, and it really touched a lot of people's lives, and I'm a proven testament because my business exploded after I took your Dream Year Challenge.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, so I want to start off and ask, tell us a little bit about your story. How did it all get started for you in internet marketing? I mean, did you have a lot of experience, or you were just, a regular guy?
Yeah, no doubt about it. How old was I? I was I'm 36 now. I was about 32 years old at the time I was working at a restaurant as a waiter, and the reason I had ended up at this restaurant was I had been plugging away for years in the restaurant business. I gone through different levels of management. I was running the food and beverage operations for country clubs, and I was working my butt off, 80 hours a week. Saving for retirement, bought my first home, working the plan, so to speak, right? And I always believed that if I outworked everybody and I put my head down and did all this, that would be the long-term solution. But I will say, that was really a kind of a mask for dysfunction in other places in my life. I lived to work and worked to live. That was it. And that was my excuse in other areas of my life. If I didn't maintain relationships well, or if I was short with people, or wasn't nice to them, or if things in my life weren't in order, but I worked so much, and that was where I personally, reflecting on it, where I personally felt I brought value, right? And so one day, for the first time in my working life, I got fired from a job. And being that, and being that was where I spent my whole life, and that was, the only place I really saw myself as bringing value, to get fired is it's like the worst breakup you've ever been through. You know what I mean? I was crushed. I couldn't believe it, and it made me kind of depressed, and I just kind of curled up in a ball and felt sorry for myself, for many, many months. I felt like I had been wronged. I felt the victim. I had this whole story going in my head. And after a little while, what I found was, after about 4 months, what I realized is working the traditional plan combined with a little bit of financial irresponsibility had led me to a place where I didn't have anything to show for all the sacrifices I had made.
All the hard work that you put in.
Yeah, every wedding I'd missed, every Mother's Day I'd missed, every holiday I'd missed for the sake of being at the club or being at the restaurant or wherever I was at the time, all those sacrifices I had made, I had nothing to show for it. And so I had to get up and do something, and I went back to waiting tables, and I had this first little light bulb, right? The first little light bulb went off, and that was that I didn't have to take, well, not that you ever have to take work home with you, but their problems weren't my problems, okay? I came in, I took care of the people, I took their order, I served their food, I was nice to them, and then I got to leave. And it wasn't my problem. I didn't have to worry about, whether people were showing up or not showing up, or scheduling or inventory, or, internal problems or human resources stuff or payroll. I didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. And that was refreshing, right? That kind of gave me a clear mind. I said, man, why was I making someone else's dream, someone else's business, my priority? Right? It sounded like it didn't make a lot of sense to me. The other thing I liked there is I had kind of a flexible schedule. With a little bit of notice, I could put in my desired shifts. We did it all online, and I could trade shifts very easily. We had a really great system, and for that reason, if I wanted a weekend off, I could take a weekend off. If I wanted, and this is coming from someone who, when I was working at my peak, I worked 25, 30 days straight. So to have a weekend off, at the first time I had 3 days off in a row, I felt guilty. It felt weird. And right? And so, and so that another little light bulb went off, and I said, this is what life, I'm not supposed to, have someone else running my schedule every second of every day. And so then the third light bulb went off, and that was, I'm not making enough money here. Yeah, that was the final light bulb, right? And so I knew I wanted to do something different. I always wanted to be a business owner, but I didn't have any capital, right? And one day, a chef there who I looked up to, which is very important, someone I saw as a person of authority, someone I trusted their opinion, and he handed me a business card to a network marketing business. I went home and watched the video. I actually lost the business card and called him back and said, what was that business card you handed me again? Not many prospects are going to do that. You're not supposed to just hand a business card and let them walk away. But, I called him back, and I checked out the website, and I watched this short video. When I tell you, I couldn't sleep that night. I saw it. I said, this is it. This is my solution. I need to get out there. I need to do this. I need to figure it out. And it was like in January, I guess, it would be 4 years in January, I think, that I dove in. I invested about $500, and I started my first network marketing business.
Ah, pretty exciting, yeah. And after you told all of your story, it makes sense why you wanted to create something new in your life. You were so overworked and you wanted to create something different, to
Yeah,
create leverage and freedom, right?
no doubt about it.
So you've been like 17 years in the restaurant business, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I did another, I did another 2.5 years after that because I didn't get started off, I didn't exactly come out of the gates on fire. But yeah, 17 years total in the restaurant business, no doubt about it.
Cool, cool. So you just started basically like everybody else with no experience in the home business industry with the network
Yeah,
marketing.
and I found myself in a situation that I see a lot of people in. I needed a solution, right? It was still about me.
Yeah,
I needed a solution. Okay, I saw this as the solution. I wanted what I wanted. I wanted my freedom, right? I wanted my money. I wanted my, time. I wanted to travel. I wanted me, right? And interestingly, I really didn't have, I wasn't confident. I was still kind of a shell of myself because I had been basically in getting fired. It had created this unknown in my head, like I wasn't good enough, like I didn't have the skills I thought I had, like I didn't have the value I thought I had. Now I was back, to my roots, waiting tables after having been out of waiting tables for many years. And I was in a relationship at the time with a person that was not on board with this, and everybody around me was telling me, like, "What? Stop grasping at straws. Step up and do something real. What are you going to do with your life?" And here I was like lacking confidence, and the story I was telling myself was that, people see me as desperate. They see me as this broke waiter. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say, right? So you combine that, and then you go out and you show a few people, you get met with the same stuff, and all of a sudden I started to doubt the industry. I started to have doubt in all these areas, and one thing I've heard and I've learned, and I think it's a very powerful thing. Mark Hoverson, Mark Hoverson said one time that at their core, like all these issues, all your issues are ethical issues, and the catch-22, and I talked about this at Live the Dream a little bit. The catch-22 a lot of people get themselves into is the moment they lose a little bit of belief. Okay, they now feel like they're introducing somebody to something that they're going to struggle in, or maybe the product really isn't serving anybody, or whatever, and and so what happens is there becomes this little bit of an ethical issue, at your core, and you get yourself caught in this cycle, this catch-22, where now you're struggling, and you don't want to, you don't want to have someone else struggle, or you don't want someone else to experience the things that you're not enjoying about what you're experiencing, because you don't recognize yet that those are part of your growth, right? You don't see them as a rite of passage, so you don't realize you're doing someone a favor by introducing them to entrepreneurs like this, But and so you get yourself caught in this place, and that's kind of where I was caught, and I was caught there for a while, until I made a move,
Yeah, yeah, and I think that a lot of people can really relate to everything you're saying regarding, belief in themselves and doubting after they were trying to do something for a while. But now you're obviously at the point where you have total belief in yourself, you believe in other people, you're an incredible leader. But I want to take you a little bit back to the place where you had your first breakthrough. I know that you've been able to fire your boss, and it was kind of an amazing thing that you actually caught it on tape, and I think it became now internet famous how you do that. I wanted to share this story with everybody. What was the day that you fired your boss, and what really happened to be able to, for you to make it happen, to really fire your boss? I mean, what happened there?
Well, it's interesting. It all started with a decision, Vitaly. And, I was out of work as a waiter with a back injury. Okay, and, I'd gone down with this back injury. They wheeled, I went up to my father's house. I was out of my house because that relationship I was in had kind of come to its ending point. So I decided I would move out for a little while. And what happened was about 2 days later, I had this back injury. And I went up to my father's house. I said, listen, they sent me home from work. My back's really bad, blah, 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 blah. And like by the hour, it just kept getting worse. And the next morning, you know, I woke up. He said, you know, Irene, his wife, says I should take you to the hospital. I said, no, I'm fine. I just got, you know, to the bathroom and back, and you know, I got to sleep on it. And within 10 minutes of having any pressure on my feet, I was out of it. I mean, out of it. They literally had to carry me to the car, wheel me in, and I came home and I was like, you know, dosed up on painkillers, the whole thing, and I just had this moment where I was like, enough is enough. You know, I thought I was going to have to get surgery, which would bankrupt me because I was in debt, and I mean, it just, you know, I'm a waiter, right? So I'm not bringing in cash, and I don't even know if I'm going to can go back to waiting tables. And so I was sitting there, and a bunch of people that I looked up to were using a system called My Lead System Pro, right? So I had heard about it, and I didn't really understand what it was. I thought it was like another business opportunity or something. I'm like, oh, yeah, I get it. I see what they're doing over here. Like, you know, of course, I'm like assuming I know what's going on the inside. And I finally said, listen, if you want what people have, you got to do what they do, right? And these people that I look up to are inside this system, so I'm going to see what it's all about. And I got online, made sure I had $10 free on one of my credit card limits to take the trial. You know, it was a tight squeeze. And I jumped in and I took the trial of My Lead System Pro. And there I was, stuck in a chair, right? And, you know, I got a walker next to me in case I want to try and, you know, get to the bathroom. And I'm just dosed up on pain pills until I can get to the doctor for MRIs and they can figure out what the heck's going on. And despite being like completely out of it, I sat there and started setting up, and I consumed the training, and I started diving in. And for like 10 or 12 hours straight, I just went after it, right? And I remember that being a Wednesday and getting on the Wednesday night webinar and saying, oh my goodness, I can't believe somebody put all this together for someone like me. I can't believe somebody's teaching this stuff, right? And that Wednesday webinar was on how to use Craigslist. Right now, the internet changes fast. That was years ago, and I remember that's where I got my first leads. I took what I learned on that webinar, and I turned around and I applied it, and I was getting leads, you know. And I stunk at talking to them, but that was a whole other skill I had to develop. So after getting all excited that night, you know, doing about 12 hours of training, getting on that webinar, I got a phone call the next day, and it was from a restaurateur who I had been interviewing with for about 6 months. I had sat down with him 3 or 4 times. I was the final candidate one time. He hired someone else, and then he came back to me. He said, Justice, you're my guy. I want you to general manage my restaurant. I said, okay, but we weren't agreeing eye to eye on salary originally. He said, I'll give you your salary. I'll give you that, you know, everything you're looking for. So this was like, I knew the clientele already. It was in the area I used to work. This was like my dream job, okay?
Yeah.
And after 12 hours in this system, seeing all the value that was in there, I stopped and I said, I need to think about this. I'll give you a call right back, you know. And I said, can you give me 24 hours? He said, yeah. And so I called him back the next day, and I said, Tom, I said, I'm sorry, but I'm not the same person you interviewed. Okay, in the best interest of your business, to give the job to someone else.
So give away your basically dream job after you've been able to expose yourself to My Lead System for around a day or something, and then you kind of believe so much in yourself, so you just, you know, let his dream job away. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and it's interesting because I didn't have a lot of confidence at the time still, but I had enough vitality. You know, everybody has a pain point.
Yeah.
But enough is enough. Okay, when the excuses no longer make sense, and you know, and I get emotional, just like, you know, it's making me emotional just to think about that time. You know, everybody has that point, and for me, that was that point. Now, some people never reach it, you know, because we have a lot of tolerance for mediocrity, for all that stuff. So I had reached that point, and that day I made a decision, and I always say that was the day I started my business. That's the day I was in business. And it wasn't the day I paid my $500 and got my kit. It wasn't the day I made my first sale, okay? Because I had made one sale. I'd made $98 up to that point. And, you know, none of that, I wasn't in business then. That was the day. The day I made the decision was the day I was in business. Now, there's just really one fundamental problem. And that was, you know, My Lead System Pro teaches a lot about internet marketing and how to build a brand around yourself and attract leads and make sales and all that good stuff. I barely knew how to use a computer. You know, I knew a little bit about Word and I knew a little bit about Excel because of the restaurant business, doing inventories and all that different stuff. I could send an email, but that was the extent of it. And so I had made this decision to be an internet entrepreneur, and I didn't have any of the skills to do it. But when you make a decision, when you draw that kind of line in the sand, you'd be amazed at your ability to find the answers, to grow into the person that needs to succeed. Each and every person watching this is capable of doing things they believe they're not capable of. You know, they're making it harder than it has to be because they're not 100% in. When you're 100% in, okay, you will find the answers. When you're 100% in, you'll find a way.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I mean, it all starts with that decision. And so I eventually went back to work several weeks later, and I started getting, you know, I couldn't work the same amount of shifts. I wasn't making as much money. It was really tough. I remember telling everybody what I was going to do. You know, I was going to make it. I was going to make it happen. And people thought I was crazy. You know, they were like, "Oh, enough already, Justice. Come on." But slowly but surely, you know, I kept at it. Slowly but surely, I started to turn them around. You know, they saw that I wasn't quitting. They saw that I was learning new things. They saw that I was growing, that I wasn't stopping. And I had taken in a friend for a month one time. For 2 months, he was sleeping on my couch. And he was paying me a small amount of rent because I couldn't really afford to live, and he was in between places. Remember, he came home one day. I'd been working on the computer for about 10 hours. He left for a double shift. He came back. I was still there. And he said, you know, he said, I really have to admire your work, what you're doing, that you're doing this much work in such a high, in the face of such a high probability of failure.
Yeah.
And it was a nice intention statement, right?
Yeah.
Like, it meant well. But it was like he was speaking another language. I didn't understand. Like I looked at him like, I don't get it. I said, there is no chance of failure here. Like, there just isn't. Like, the reason why I'm doing this work is because other people are doing it, and I'm going to figure out and develop the skills on how to do it. So what you're saying just doesn't make any sense. And, you know, and I plugged away and plugged away, and I remember the first time I started generating leads. And I remember the first time I got some sign-ups in My Lead System Pro, and one of them led to a sign-up in my network marketing company, which is the idea, right? And I thought, man, I signed up like 6 people in 6 days on automation while I was at work in My Lead System Pro. One of them emailed me, said, I want to join your business. I want to know what network marketing company you want to join. And I'm like, it works. Oh my God, it works. I'm making sales while I'm at work, and people are emailing me to join my business. This works, right? And I'm like, that's it. I'm through. I'm out of here. I'm going to be done, right? And I think the whole next month I made like 3 sales. And like I thought the floodgates had opened. And sure enough, you know, it's just a little spurt, and I had to put my head down and get busy again. And I just kept after it. And, you know, I remember going in one day and having them sit me down, and they said, Justice, you've been giving up a lot of shifts, because I was really giving up shifts to come home, do webinars, and all this was really starting to move. And they said, you know, you're not gonna be on full-time insurance anymore. We're gonna have to take you down to part-time insurance. And I said, and with a bad back, that's no good, right? And so I said, well, let me ask you this. You know, what happens if you know, I were to leave here while still on full-time insurance? You know, would I be able to keep that insurance through Cobra? You know, I'd have to pay for it, obviously, but I could keep what I'm on. And they said, yeah, were you to leave here, you know, that would be the case. I said, okay, just ask it. And then I had like this 25-day window. You know, it was like, I'm out of here. Like, you know, and I put my head down and got some stuff done, had my first sizable month, and you know, I walked in, and it was really a great thing, because at that point everybody had turned around. They were all rooting for me now. You know, I'd been after it for you know, they'd been listening to me for a good year, you know, at least, and they knew there was no quitting me, so they were really, really happy for me. You know, I kind of represented now what anybody could do, you know, because nobody wanted to stay in the restaurant business forever, so I represented the idea that anybody could get out, you know, that anybody could create something.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw that they were kind of encouraging. If you were to watch the tape, actually, when Justice announced that he's getting out of you're firing your boss, and everybody's like cheering you. But that's so incredible, Justice. I mean, that's exactly how successful people think, that, you know, I'm going to figure stuff out, no matter what, whatever it takes. I'm committed to it, and I'm going to make it happen. And you did it. You're a perfect example of that, and that's an incredible story, and very touching. I want to ask you, Justice, what was the major turning point for you in your way of you doing business that really helped you start seeing results and being profitable in your business?
You know, it's so funny, and I talk about this a little bit in Challenge Vitality, and this will probably sound familiar. For me, it's never business activities that make the change for me. It's personal habits.
Yeah.
You know, everybody thinks that it's the strategy, or it's the this, or it's the that. Like, that stuff all falls into place. Okay? The question is how did I go from a depressed, broke waiter who wouldn't get out of bed until 1 p.m. in the afternoon sometimes? You think about that. You're the guy you're listening to right now. I mean, I used to not drag myself out of bed until 1 p.m. sometimes. You know, and so how did it was changing the habits. You know, I always tell this story of my snooze button. You know, I started tracking how many days in a row I could get up without hitting the snooze button. And that turned into me having energy and time to do some personal development. And then what I did was I started getting on the elliptical machine every day and getting some exercise in. And what I would do is I would plug in a My Lead System Pro webinar recording, because, you know, when you're at the mastery level in My Lead System Pro, you have access to 5 years of archived training. I mean, anything you want to learn is back there.
Like
so
50 webinars or something.
It's absurd. You could never consume it. You wouldn't consume it in a lifetime. You know, because it's a living, breathing thing. It's constantly growing.
With 9 new fresh webinars adding every week. It's
right.
You can't possibly consume it all. Yeah. So
what I would do is I'd go in there and I'd say, well, this is what I'm working on right now, so I want to learn everything I can about this. And I would plug. I had this little TV that didn't have cable hooked up to it or anything, because I actually had shut my cable off. That was a big, big decision. We talk about habits, right? You know, I sat down one day and I was watching SportsCenter, feeling lazy, and I started to watch the same highlights a second time. Anybody who's out there that's a SportsCenter fan, you know, knows the deal. You know, when you watch those sports highlights, the show loops. I mean, it repeats the same show right afterwards, and so I caught myself watching the same highlights again the second time, and I said, what are you doing? You know, and I was really stuck for money, and I said, that's, you know, you're paying X on cable, you need to invest that money in your business. So I shut my TV off, and but I had this little TV in the room with nothing hooked up to it, and I used to hook my computer up to it and get on the elliptical machine, and I would watch the recorded My Lead System Pro training while I was getting some exercise in. Right? So now you're starting to, you know, now I've got more time, more energy, I've got personal development in, I'm doing some training, I'm doing some exercise, and those habits, you know, the changing my personal habits started to change the way I approached business. You know, I was getting more done, I was more focused, I was more positive, I was more energetic. I had that confidence was just really starting to build, and these things build on themselves, and then once you start seeing results, even though you have to have that confidence and that belief well before the results come, you know, once you start seeing results, it only adds gasoline to that fire, you know, and you know, I talk to people all the time, and you know, students, coaching clients, prospects, and you know, I've candid conversations with them, and I tell them that I'm going to tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And one of the things that a lot of people need to hear is they just, in a lot of people, I don't see the fire yet. You know, I don't see that fire to pour the gasoline on. It's still me, right? It's still, but I need. But I need the money, but I need to make sales. What can I do to do it fast? Well, why are you doing it? I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it for this. I'm doing it for that. But you can't be doing it for those reasons if you're not taking action, facing your fears, you know, pushing forward into the unknown. You know, if you think that we don't have the negative self-talk, if you don't think that we don't fight doubt, if you don't think that we don't fight fear, you're not being realistic. Okay, those are human characteristics. Those are things that we all face. Okay, it's that fire. How much do you want it? You know, and at the beginning it might be pain that pushes you there, but that's not going to keep the fire lit. You know.
Absolutely, and you know, building your own self-belief by personal development, by, you know, really taking the time to invest in yourself, invest the time to work on your mindset, work on your confidence and how you feel, and your levels of energy, which is so key, and your productivity. You know, it all builds on itself, and that's exactly what I've been doing, like crazy, investing in my mindset more than anything else, and that's what propels people. You know, that those habits of really growing and having this fuel, this fire, like you told, to really go and make stuff happen. So
I couldn't believe, you know, I couldn't believe when I got inside My Lead System Pro, I couldn't believe that somebody had put all that information in one place for me. I couldn't believe there was a community of people that I could get around that wanted what I wanted, so that you know, there was some place where it was real, right? Where it was real. And they had the daily morning wake-up calls, right? And even if I couldn't get on them every day, you know, they had the recordings back there, and I could listen to those and listen to the people that were doing it. And you know, just putting myself in that environment, watching the trainings on the elliptical every day, it became very real. And a lot of times I'll talk to people who come in, you know, and they'll tell me that, you know, you can tell that they are looking for a quick fix, a Band-Aid, right? Something that's magically going to get them results. And sometimes I'll have people come in that see it like I see it, and they go, oh my goodness, I can't believe someone created this for someone like me. And I try and explain to the Band-Aid person that this is a university, right? This is a place to learn and grow, okay? If you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a pharmacist, if you want to have a high-paying career, okay, you're going to go through years and years of schooling, right? Imagine somebody condensed it, put it all in one place, and that there were actually other people in this community, and treat it like you're growing your entrepreneurial muscles and preparing yourself for a successful long-term life, you know, as an entrepreneur. And when you put that in perspective and you think about what it costs to be a member of My Lead System Pro versus what it would cost to go out there and educate yourself in something where there's no guarantee of a job, where someone else is running your schedule, where you're building someone else's dream, you know, and it's like I'm in shock and awe every single time I log in, and some people see it and some people don't, but you know, but that's just the nature of it, right? Some people are not at that pain point yet. Some people don't want to own it yet, you know, they don't have that fire yet.
That's a very minuscule, very tiny price to pay for all the. They say like a Harvard for home business entrepreneurs. They really have all the strategies inside, everything like laid out for you. You just need to learn, you know, and take action. Learn, find, take action. That's it. And you know, I've been watching to wake up calls every day myself. I have this little app here that downloads it automatically, and I'm not going anywhere without those Bluetooth headphones because I have a lot of stuff on my phone, and I'm constantly in my spare time and like no extra time, and I'm doing something. And you know, my car will not move if it's something from personal development or something on playing to keep me moving forward and working on improving my skills.
It's so funny to say that, right? And I'm just going to grab one pile of these. I'm just going to grab one pile of like the success CDs, right, from the magazine. And what I do is I bring 6 of these down to my car, and I put them in the 6 disc changer, And after I've listened through all 6 maybe twice, and I'm starting to go, okay, I know exactly what this guy's going to say, I bring them up, I put them over into a different pile, and I grab 6 more, right? And I go down there, and it's the same thing. I mean, my car doesn't go anywhere without it being, an education tool.
Absolutely. I first heard from Brian Tracy, you need to turn your car into educational university, and that's such a key that Darren Hardy once said that you don't need to study so many different programs out there. You need to have the best ones, and you need to listen to them over and over and over and over and over again. It's really you want to read, instead of reading 50 books one time, you want to read one book 50 times. A lot of times, there's always something new that you'll have a higher level of awareness when you read it or listen to it again.
True, it changes every time.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask you now. You talk a lot about building audience, right? And turning your cold market, people who don't know you yet, to your warm market of people who know you, like you, and trust you. So tell us why it's so important to build your audience, and maybe you'll give us a couple of tips how to do it.
Sure. Well, I mean, we live in a really interesting time where we can reach anybody, and we can reach them and get our message to them as faster than a big company can, right? It wasn't always that way. I mean, it wasn't that way just a few years ago. And, I think a lot of people get confused that they see the internet as a mechanism just to sell. And people don't respond like that anymore. I mean, I say that what we're doing is we're building an extended warm list, right? We're making connections with people, and then we're taking that cold market and we're turning them warm. And what's really powerful about it is that with the tools, some of it can be done on automation. As with anything, that compound effect kicks in where you start to reap bigger benefits for the same amount of work.
Right.
And it's accessible. I mean, we're all right here, And so, one thing I'll tell from a tip standpoint is if there's marketing strategies out there that people are doing and they're working for that person, for multiple people, then they work. Okay, so eliminate the idea that this doesn't work for me. Yep. Know that if something's not working for you, okay, you either don't know something that someone else knows, or you're not doing something that they're doing. Okay, that's it. So, it just means that you have to change the way you're approaching it. You're misunderstanding something about the approach or the technique, or, how to use the platform or strategy, or you're not doing it enough, or doing it, doing what the other person's doing. So, any of these strategies work. What I will tell you is the numbers are the numbers. There's always a majority of people are in all things are always struggling, right? A majority of people quit anything. A majority of people are not wealthy. A majority of people are not happy, and it's just the way it is. And so, if you go in understanding that a majority of people are not succeeding in their online marketing efforts or getting the results they're looking for, then you also have to understand that a majority of the marketing you're being exposed to isn't really good marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's, guys, if there's a takeaway here, because what happens is in the online world you don't know the person. So when you're looking around, you may think, hey, this person's getting all these results. But the reality is what happens is bad marketing tends to rub off on other marketers, on new marketers, because it's the majority. Yeah. Right? The majority of the messages, the majority of the ads, the majority of the stuff you see out there isn't working for people. And because you see so much of it, you think it must be what's working. You think it must be how to do it. Right? The reality is you want to be different. You want to stand out from the crowd. You want to be genuine. You want to be you. You want to make sure that you're bringing value, and most of all, that you're functioning with the marketplace's best interest in mind. Okay? So when you put something out there, it is truly meant to help the people who receive it. Now, it can sell too. Nothing wrong with selling. There's nothing wrong with sales. I think it's like all or nothing. Either people are on that like total pitch side, or they're always afraid to ask for the sale, right? It's all like, but I heard value. value is value starts with what your intent is.
Yeah.
Okay, with whether it's meant for them or not. You can provide someone more value by selling them something many times than by giving them something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? Value doesn't mean free. Okay, so the idea is to get out there, be different in the marketplace, to stand out, do what other people won't do or aren't doing. Master. You don't have to become the world's expert on a platform, but if you want to wrap your arms around Facebook marketing or YouTube marketing or blogging or something, stick with something until you've applied it enough to get consistent results. Okay, stick with something long enough and learn and apply. Focus your education majority on that, and do it until you've done it, right?
Yeah.
I'll use Instagram as an example. Instagram is something I'm not very active on. Okay, and when I want to get leads on Instagram, which is one of the next places I'll be going, but when I want to get leads on Instagram, once I decide I'm going to use Instagram again, I'm going to focus on it, and it's going to get my attention until I figure out how it works, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to try it for a week and then turn around and go try something else. That's why it doesn't have my attention right now, because my attention is elsewhere. Okay, yeah. and to switch over for a second just because would do a disservice to where my focus is.
Yeah, you cannot be focused on too many things at once. You have to choose a strategy and be focused on that, and really, go and find somebody who is successful and model after what they're doing, and do it yourself, figure it out. Absolutely, I agree with you. Yeah. So yeah, you give away a lot of great, valuable tips here. I hope you wrote it down. A huge one that you should write down is the intent of what your intent when you are creating content. Are you there to serve, or are you there to just to make a sale? Because you want to come from a place of authoritative leadership, authoritative servants, right? When you're serving people, when you're there to really help them, people feel that. People feel that when you're coming from this place. So a lot of the stuff is really invisible. It's intangible. What makes success, and that's something that you're going to discover along your journey. So I want to ask you, Justice. You've been talking about MLSP a little bit, and I want to ask you, what part MLSP played in your success online?
Huge. I mean, I can never thank those guys enough for what they've created. I love that it just started as an idea, an everyday guy, musician, a couple of friends, and they created this, and still to this day, I would say it's responsible for at least 80% of what I know about marketing. Okay, and I've gone out there and I've invested in big coaching and training and all that different stuff, and it's still to this day is the hyper majority of what I know about marketing has been learned through MLSP. My biggest product launch took place through MLSP. The exposure that is provided, all that different stuff, it's endless. And so yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's anything I could be more thankful for than that system.
Yeah, absolutely. It changed my life too, and it's great to know that you too learned most of the stuff from Miley System Pro, because I too invested in a lot of things, but I learned the most of what I know from Miley System Pro. So obviously we're so passionate about Miley System Pro, but I want to kind of give you maybe a couple of things specifically. What is so special about it, and who do you recommend it for? Who is it for?
Well, I mean, what makes it so special is that it's the whole package, right? It's community, it's tools, okay, training, and it's the best of all of it. Who it's for is for someone that wants to get out there and really learn how to grow a business leveraging the internet. Someone who wants to go out there and brand themselves, make themselves the biggest asset. Okay, it's not for people who are looking for a push-button solution or the easy button, because nothing is easy. It's easier than doing it yourself because the tools are there and the training's there and all that good stuff, but it's not easy. I mean, nothing's easy. So, it's for people that really want to grow their skills, leverage the internet. And the reason, the reason why I love it so much is it can create a second stream of income for you. I mean, my lead pro has paid me 6 figures.
It's a lucrative
like
system, that's for sure.
Just on a front income, right? On a front end income. It wasn't designed to pay someone over $100,000. I mean, there's people in that system that have made it, over $500,000. And results will vary. See the income disclaimer statement, guys. I'm not making income claims here, or that's not the intention. It's just to understand that it's so many things. It can be an income stream. It's a training environment. It's a community. It's tools. Okay. It's a fast start system. It's everything you need under one roof to get out there and actually start marketing online and building a brand around yourself online and attracting people to buy or join, whatever it is that you choose to represent. And I mean, and so for anyone who wants to do that, there isn't a better place to learn how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And just to get you a little bit understanding of what tools we're talking about, you can build an entire funnel that you want to create capture pages, to brand yourself, or you can use a lot of done-for-you funnels already to start building your list and your brand. You have the customer relationship manager to follow up like a professional with people. You have basically everything you need inside one umbrella. And of course, you'll get all the training there, and it's a lucrative affiliate program that will pay you a lot of money if you work it. So it's definitely that's part of the reason why we're so passionate about it. I want to ask you, Justice, how does it feel? I know that now people are coming to you. They're coming to you. They're attracted to you, and because of the value you put out there, and they already trust you, and they want to be part of what you're doing. So how does it feel, and what really this industry allow you to do in terms of your lifestyle?
Well, it's just been wonderful to not punch a clock. I can't say that I'm out there, running around, gallivanting around the world, without ever looking at a price tag. There are people in this industry that are there. I'm heading there. That is the a next destination. But to not punch a clock in 2 years, to travel regularly. I mean, I've been on I want to say I've probably been on a plane on average maybe once a month. And going someplace, learning, growing, and the biggest thing that this industry has really done for me is it's introduced me to the most amazing people. I mean, the people in my best friends are in this industry. They're people that think like I do. They want more in life. They live in solution, not in in challenges or excuses, and they have a blast. It's just done so many things for me. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the kind of freedom that this industry can provide for you. That's great that you not worrying about where do I wake up, where can I go, and you're being totally in control of your schedule and how do you spend your time and with who you spend your time, and all the people that you're going to meet in this industry are definitely amazing people. So. You gave a lot of value here on this interview. I really thank you for that. I just want to leave people, a couple of final thoughts of encouragement. Maybe there's somebody, that are watching right now. They're still working. They're still in a job. Maybe they're overworked like you do, or whatever they're doing in their work, and they're kind of, trying to ask themselves, can I really do it? So what were your kind of words of encouragement for them that they can really do this stuff? It's real.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. Regardless of what I say, the individual has to change the way they think. And it really all starts there. It starts with the way you think. It starts with what you believe and what you believe is possible. You have to start thinking different. And, I'll tell you that no matter how long it takes, you can do it, and it's worth it. And I mean, most people are going to live a life less than what they want.
Yep.
And you have a choice. You can either go down that road. You'll have plenty of company, Okay, it won't be a lonely place, that's for sure, right? Sometimes breaking out of that is a lonely place initially. And so you really just have to decide on what you want. You have to make the big decision that it's time for you. And then no matter how long it takes, whatever it is that you want, if it took a year or 5 years, I mean, if that's what you really want, who cares how long it takes, right? I mean, if that's what you really want, then who cares? Well, why settle for anything less? And, I just hope that some people on here that are watching this, recognize that it really does start with a change in the way you think. It starts with a decision. And what you do from there, you're capable of more than you can even fathom you're capable of. And, it's up to you to go out there and get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not you? That is the kind of question you want to ask yourself right now. Why not me? Enough is enough. Hopefully that you reach this turning point, like Justice were saying, where enough is enough. You're really committed to make stuff happen, and definitely using MLSP with all it provides are going to help you a lot accomplish your dream. So you can just get started for $10, take the trial and see for yourself. You'll get everything inside, see all the value, and if you don't like it, take your $10 back. But I think that you are going to absolutely love it, and you're going to change your life, like MLSP has changed my life and changed Justice's life. So, Justice, I cannot thank you enough. It's been such an incredible interview. You shared so much goodness here, so much great stuff, and from the bottom of my heart, I'm super grateful and blessed that you've been sharing all that you've been sharing today.
Well, it was my pleasure to come out. Looking forward to getting feedback from people who have the opportunity to watch this interview, and obviously just been a pleasure working with you and seeing all this stuff you're doing, and I can't wait to go hang in the Caribbean with you.
Great, Caribbean cruiser waiting for us.
Right?
That will be a lot of fun. Yeah, absolutely amazing. So everybody, it's been our pleasure, and we're going to talk soon to you.
Have a good one, guys.
Have a good one.